Hi, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your July 2023 new moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel be seen by the YouTube algorithm, and it helps me out tremendously. So, thank you so very much for doing so. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. This cleanse and meditation will be accompanied by a loud sound. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see here, Cancer, the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. This is the Queen of Wands reverse. So fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. There's a sense of like, it almost feels like tempers are rising and rising. And it's a little bit of being out of control. So it can be that our temper can be a bit out of control during this time. It can be that we're dealing with somebody who can just be very aggressive, very, I don't want to, well, it's aggressive, but also passive aggressive coming forward as well. There's a sense here of also questioning our passions, questioning the way that we want to move forward, not really feeling inspired. We can be suffering from a bit of burnout. And instead of being compassionate with ourselves, we can be very fierce with ourselves. And we have people around us who are very fierce with us. And it's like, no, but you have to do it like this. And it's like, no, I can slow down. And it's okay to slow things down. This is a very intense time for you, Cancer, because we're in the Cancer time period and this new moon is in Cancer. So it's very much your energy coming forward. And sometimes we're smacked in the face by who we are or the energy that propels us. And we can be having a bit of resistance to it. It's kind of like, I want to change things. And one of the things during this new moon that's so powerful for you, and it's just coming up, I can feel it like in my hands. Like we want to hold on to things, we want to do things the way that we were doing them before. We want to keep things safe and structured and on the straight and narrow, but we also want to break out and, branch off and do things more, I want to say chaotically, but also it's not chaotic. It's without so much worry. It's without, you know, wanting to make sure everything is safe for everyone and putting so many burdens on our shoulders. So just be aware about that during this time that we're taking on a lot and we can be resenting it. Let's see what spirit has to say. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. This is prosperity reverse. We need to start looking at ourselves as prosperous. We're going to be looking at ourselves and saying, oh, well, I'll be prosperous when or if, or, once this is accomplished. Start looking at ourselves right now as prosperous. We might have miles to go before we're satisfied with where we stand, but looking at yourself and loving who you are and saying, this is prosperity, this is beauty, this is power, this is me. Instead of feeling defeated, that's going to be a very big thing. That is a very big thing. So let's look at what the tarot has to say for us. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Okay. So it's really interesting here, and we're going to dive into the astrology of it all. But what's really interesting right here, right now, is that we don't want to dive deeper into things. We want to see what's at the surface, and we want to look at what's right before us. We don't want to dive into deeper emotions and deeper feelings. We've kind of had enough of that. So just be aware of that. That's crowning the whole entire thing with the high priestess reverse. That we're really looking at things, and it's like, no, I don't want to go deeper. I don't want to sit here and talk about our feelings. I want to move forward. And what's really interesting is that this new moon in Cancer on the 17th of July, it's at 24 degrees 56 seconds of Cancer, and it is a very powerful new moon. Now, part of the power comes from the fact that Cancer is ruled by the moon. So when the moon is in Cancer, the moon is home. The moon is like, yes, I feel most comfortable, most powerful, most, prestigious here. And Cancer is an extremely sensitive, you guys are an extremely sensitive, kind, empathetic, nurturing sign. But everybody has their limits. There's a sense here of a rejection of healing. All right, just be aware of that. There's something here that we're walking away from. We don't want to heal it right now. And it just is kind of like we've had enough of the work. We've had enough of the time and the effort. It doesn't mean that we're going to be walking away from something forever, but it's like right now, I need to be a little bit selfish. I need to be a little bit me. And that's coming through very powerfully. It came through very powerfully with Gemini's reading as well. So if you're born on the cusp with Gemini or you have Gemini in your chart, check that out because the same emotions are here. Now, what's also really interesting about Cancer is that when we hear the word Cancer, it the first thing we think about usually isn't the the zodiac sign, right? It's the disease. So Cancer can be a little bit scary. And yet Cancer is the most mothering, nurturing, kind of compassionate sign. And that is absolutely beautiful. But it's represented by the crab, right? And that's where Cancer comes from crab. And with the crab, the skeleton is on the outside. And I really feel that this is one of the reasons why Cancer is so linked with motherhood, okay? And the sacrifice that is made for another being. Now, the way that we see this in the human cycle is through motherhood or fatherhood, but it's more, I guess, graphically played out in motherhood for that example. It doesn't mean you have to be a mother at all. What it means is that when the crab grows, the skeleton, is shed. The skeleton grows, and it's painful. And so here, what we're going to see is that Cancer is all about meaningful growth and transformation through pain. And it leads us to a new chapter in our lives, and that's where I'm really seeing the motherhood, kind of dynamic playing forward, but it doesn't have to be in that distinct way. So just be aware of that because a lot of times Cancer, we can get so caught up with, but this is what's expected of me, or this is how I think, I'm supposed to be because I'm supposed to be caring and nurturing. I have that in my personality. So it means sacrifice. No, it means growth and transformation through pain, which is how we grow, how we transform, how a little kid learns, don't touch the stove, is especially if you have that curious kid that won't take your word for anything. They have to touch it, right? It's transformation through pain. Something that was benign now becomes something that can be menacing, right? So understanding that is a very powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing for us, Cancer. We also have Pluto squared the nodal axis. Now, the nodes move backwards. So it goes from 29 degrees to 0. So this shift in the nodal axis actually shifts our collective destiny, our collective karma. And so this is a huge shift for us and for the world. Now, the North Lunar Node moves from Taurus to Aries, okay? And that's where the autonomy is coming in. Now, do I believe all meaning is through being an autonomous being? No, I believe that we connect through the way that we come together as human beings. So we're going to be seeing that there's a sense here of moving from being a people pleaser to being confident within ourselves and what we desire. The South Lunar Node moves from Scorpio to Libra. What is to be noted with both of these are both sister signs. So in astrology, the North Lunar Node is seen as the head of the dragon. The South Lunar Node is seen as the tail, right? The balance and the guide, or the head, So what we're seeing here is that we're being guided by what we see through Aries energy, right? But the rudder of the ship, the tail, the guiding point of the balance point of the dragon is Libra, which is balance, which is love, which is compassion. So understanding that those two forms of being are going to be coming forward very powerfully in our lives is going to be very strong for us. We're also breaking old habits that were made to keep everything happy, everything copacetic, everything harmonious. And we're going to be seeing ourselves being a little bit more selfish, a little bit, and it's not in a bad way, selfish, but in a way where we're very open and honest with ourselves. Now, there is a sense here also. Now, the Cardinal Grand Cross, which is at 29 degrees of Capricorn, 29 degrees of Aries, equally 29 degrees of Libra, and the new moon at 25 degrees of Cancer. This gives us a extremely powerful configuration of action orientation. It's like, I need to act, I need to move forward, I need to go after what I want. This is taking authority and taking charge of our own existence. And this is going to be a time where we see ourselves taking control. I'm just seeing this card right here with the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is healing, beautiful love coming in. It is compassion, it is grace, it is harmony. And I'm just hearing a quote from The Sopranos, which I think is very funny. It's like, I'm not Jesus and I don't have Alzheimer's. I'm not going to forgive and I'm not going to forget. There's something here where I'm not ready to heal right now. And I can state that. Or even if I do move forward in this healing and in this compassion, it's not that I'm going to be naive and fall into the same traps again. So just be aware of that, because there's something here where you're moving forward in the home, but it's like this isn't happening again. All right. I'm not forgiving it. I'm not forgetting it. All right. But I am moving forward and I'm doing that for me. So that's going to be a very big thing. Now, Jupiter is squared Mercury, which brings big visionary ideas forward. We're going to have big ideas for our future. What we have to be mindful of is not being caught up in our future. Neptune is trine the sun and the moon, meaning that everything has a deeper meaning to it. And we're going to see that we have this spiritual context of Neptune coming forward, which means that we need things to have that deeper meaning. We need to look at things through the deeper, context of Neptune, that deeper spiritual meaning. And that will be even more powerful if you have Pisces within your chart. There is a sense here during this time and for ourselves, just to be open and honest with us. There is a sense of, I don't want the veil to be lifted. I have enough to deal with right now with as things present, as things are. I don't need to go deeper and deeper and deeper. So there can be opportunities for deep dives during this time or deeper connections with spirit. And you may not be ready for it. For a lot of you Cancers, you're not going to be ready for it. And so to say, no, this isn't for me, that's perfectly fine. Stop beating yourself up. You will be ready for it. You will dive deeper, but it doesn't have to be right now. It moves us to the Four of Wands. This is celebration. This is commitment. This is the minor arcana marriage card. So there is some sort of commitment coming forward. Now, it can be that within a marriage, we're not willing to heal something. We're not. We're not willing to look at it, to forgive it, to forget it, and to keep on moving forward. So just know that for some of you Cancers, that's where we're going to be during this moon. This moon is very much about love and compassion, but it's also about painful growth. And there is a sense here of, I'm building my home and I'm building what I need for myself through a painful growth, through it is a decision that has been made externally, but mostly internally within my heart, that is moving me forward. And the bridge is just, it's not going to be met. You can have somebody coming into your life, a relationship being healed, but it's not going to be fully healed because you're not fully forgiving and forgetting. And it's not being mean. It's just saying, no, you know what? I have a right to stand up for myself and what I need. We're walking away from something we once thought we would love. We're finding a new path forward. We are going to be celebrating ourselves. We are going to be celebrating our commitments, what we desire in our life. But there's a sense during this new moon that the landscape is quite different than what I had thought it was going to be. It brings us then to judgment. We are awakening. We are awakening a powerful part of ourselves. We are awakening into our power, our instincts, our ideas. We're opening up the door. We're hearing a call forward. And this is going to be a time where it's like, oh, this is where I need to be. Or, oh, this is what I desire for myself. And there's a sense here of a part of us awakening that I see this part of us having been a very powerful part of us before. Like when we were younger, this is like late teens, 20s type of energy, very much a sense of this was a boldness and a brashness and a like just almost I can do anything, right? Conquer the world type of energy. And what's coming forward here is like that has been dormant for quite some time. It's awakening again. It's not going to be in exactly the same way, but you're going to find yourself being like, wow, I haven't been inspired like this for a really long time, or wow, I haven't thought about this in a really long time. And it brings us to this place where we start to look at things and we can get really stuck in, and I didn't move forward the way that I wanted to, right? In a, oh my gosh, I wasted so much time, or I'm afraid, I'm overwhelmed. There is this real sense here of be very mindful of this because we're awakening. There's a power, there's a brilliance to us, there's a I can conquer the world sort of energy here. And then there's a stark reality of, oh my gosh, it's almost like too much time has passed. That's not true. Stop being so harsh on yourself and stop being so cruel to yourself. It is time to look at the disappointments and say, you know what? Especially my life as a Cancer is about growth and transformation through pain. Things haven't worked out the way that I had thought they would. I'm just hearing, I can respect that. I can respect my disappointment. I can respect my anger. I can respect my frustration, but I will not be owned by it. Spirit has a plan for us. I am a firm believer of that. And sometimes it takes a while for us to learn the words or to learn the power that Spirit wants us to step into because we have very limited vocabulary. We know how we're raised, right? We know what we're raised with, or what's expected in mass media. But sometimes that doesn't align to our heart and our soul and ourselves. And that's a big thing. When we realize it's like, oh, that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. This is. And that's going to be what's happening here, Cancer, is like, oh, this door is opening. Like this is where I'm supposed to be walking. I have to let go of what wasn't meant to me, wasn't meant for me to begin with. And then there's a gift of the Ace of Pentacles. God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, hands us a gift of prosperity, success, bounty, abundance, walking through to the next chapter. There's a real sense here of our dreams guiding us, prosperity leading us, very much being a part of us. We're opening up the door to wealth, be it money or what we value as much as money. And the new chapter starts with brightness, prosperity, and success at our center. So let's see what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. So what's really interesting here is from the cards and so many of them being reversed, we can see that this moon is testing us. And when the moon is in our sign, just like when we're in the sun sign of ourselves, we can find that this can be a time that tests us just a bit more. It can be a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit more intense, a little bit more powerful, okay, which is the nicest way to put it, than maybe we want. Here, gratitude reversed, and it says, what do you need to release? There is a need during this time to say thank you, to embrace gratitude. And that can be really hard, especially with the challenges that we have been through in our lives. We can be angry and we can be like, listen, I'm not going to say thank you for this nonsense, for, these hardships, these pains, these disappointments. That's not happening. But there is a need. And I learned this with Ichigong Master. There was a need. He had to forgive, right? He said, I had to forgive. And he said, I was so angry. It was eating him up inside. His body hurt all the time. And he said, I was so angry. I couldn't forgive. I couldn't tell them I loved them because I didn't. And so his master said to him, pretend. Pretend to be grateful. Pretend to say, I love you. And start to release it and start to say it. Because you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you. And that sounds ridiculous, especially if you heard this man's story and knew how much pain he had been through. It sounds ridiculous. But here, the gratitude to say, I have learned so much. I have come so far. And for some of us, it's like, never again will I walk this path. But I'm opening up my life to a life of joy. And it brings us there then to, what do you need to release? We're not thinking of releasing anything. We're thinking of holding on to it. But once we start to embrace a gratitude, to embrace a peace within ourselves, what we need to release, it will come. And we will dive deeper. And we will find that what we're resisting right now, we will easily flow into. And that can seem a little bit overwhelming and a little bit silly even to say, because some things that we have been through, and especially some things some people have been through, are beyond the scope of imagination. They're horrible. So to embrace gratitude, to say I love you and release it, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds utterly ridiculous. And we might not be ready to do that. But we can be grateful to us for existing. We can be grateful to our angels and our spirit guides for leading us forward. Find little pieces of gratitude, Cancer, and it will start to change our whole entire path. It leads us here to self-reflection. So as we're opening up our home, self-reflection is reversed. Well, opening up to celebration. And then the void of course is reversed. So it says nothing will come of this situation. And we're not really ready to look at ourselves. We're going to think nothing will come of this. The void of course is a time, and there's many void of courses throughout a lunar cycle. And if you just type in void of course, for July or, August or whatever you want to, you can see them. And it's when things don't go according to plan. And I know people who don't do anything during a void of course time. They'll be like, nope, this time period, I'm just going to kind of sit quietly by myself, and then I'll tap back in once it has passed, because it only lasts for a few minutes. And so here, just know that what we expect, it isn't going to be as it comes. But there's a sense of, I don't want to look deeper at it. And that's going to be something we are forced to do during this time. We're forced to look deeper at ourselves, at what we want. There's something here that holds the mirror up. We want to turn our faces away. But this moon is going to be very powerful in saying, no, look at you. Because it's time to believe in the impossible. And the darkness is reversed. So what's very interesting here is that I don't see this new moon as dark for you at all. This new moon is actually very bright. It is very bright. It is very illuminating. Now, you can live in an area that doesn't have a lot of darkness to it, but there is the sense here of brightness, of power, of illumination of your soul and of yourself. There's a healing that's coming forward. We're not ready to fully step into that, and that's okay. But we are going to be deeply impacted by it. And where we think, oh, there are only shadows, there becomes a lot of light. Believe in the impossible, because it will be possible. Believe in the extraordinary. The extraordinary becomes part of your ordinary. There's something here where it's like, oh no, that couldn't possibly be. And then all of a sudden it is. We're walking away, but we're not releasing a lot of what we're angry about. It says your hard work is paying off, and it is. But there's a sense of, I've had to work this harder, I've had to come this far, or I've had to overcome so much. And Spirit is saying here, it's time to release. And yet during this moon, we're going to find that to be quite hard. It's time to release. Your hard work has paid off. And there's also a sense of like, I don't have to be fighting this hard all the time. It brings us to the energy is gaining momentum. As we're awakening, we can kind of feel like it's not. We can kind of feel like what gained momentum was to be inspired, to even see that it had to awaken. And we're not assessing the situation as to how am I stepping into my power and myself. So here the energy is pretty steady. We need to look at things. We need to look at us, what we want, what we desire, where we need to be, and see that we're awakening to a different chapter and to a different power. A new start is coming. It is. We need to stop looking at what has fallen apart or what has happened that we want it to be different, and come to things with a purity of intention. It doesn't mean that it has to be, pure as the driven snow. And by that, what Spirit is saying is that it doesn't have to, actually, it's a little confusion because it's like, it doesn't have to be naturally the purest thing. What we're finding is the purity of our intention as we start a new beginning. And we're going to find inspiration in that, in the kind of opening up of our eyes, of what we desire, of what we want, of what's important to us, and not what people think, a purity of intention is supposed to look like. And so a new start is coming, and it's going to be different than what we had anticipated. It says here, balance the spiritual and the practical, and patience, and these are both reversed. So as the Ace of Pentacles comes, prosperity, success, bounty, abundance, we're going to find it very difficult to balance, kind of that go-get-it energy of Aries that comes forward, and the fact that Neptune is trying the sun and the moon, which has us saying, what is the spiritual context of everything? And so we find that difficult, and we find it hard to even be patient with ourselves working this out, moving forward. We want instant answers. What we have is a lot of questions and a lot of passion leading us. We have to remember to tap into our hearts, to slow things down, to say, what do I love? How do I build in love, compassion, and beauty? It brings us then to our subconscious energy to be mindful of, the Ten of Swords. We're coming to the completion of a cycle mentally, and we can feel a little bit overwhelmed by things. We can look at things in a very different way. It can be overkill. We have to be mindful of kind of getting a little bit obsessive about certain things. So just be aware of that. But this is, again, this is the phoenix energy, the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new, the power, the transformation, the brilliance that leads us forward. But we have to be mindful that there's that painful, feeling stuck that comes first. And then there's the breaking free. It's the struggle that's important. What was it? When a butterfly, comes out of their cocoon, you could look at that butterfly, and as they're breaking out of the cocoon, you can think, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Let me help the butterfly. Let me cut it open. There's a story of a man who cut open the cocoon for the butterfly. And he was so compassionate. He didn't want to see the butterfly struggle. But what he didn't know is that butterfly struggle is there for a reason. It helps balance the wings of the butterfly, and it lets the butterfly be able to fly. He was so compassionate, he took away the struggle. But by taking away the struggle, he took away the butterfly's ability to fly. We have to be mindful, Cancer, of being so compassionate, of being so in tune to the struggles of the world that we want to take it all away. And what we're going to find is that it's important to struggle, and it's important for people to struggle. Not horrifically, but struggle is a part of life. It brings us to white light. Spirit is saying, embrace healing, embrace compassion, embrace coming forward in healing and in grace of self. Surround yourself with the white light of the universe, the healing light. Spirit is saying the purity of being is kind of like the purity of your intention without color, shape, or form, right? Because white is a shade. And it's wrapping that around us without expectation. It brings us to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Three of Pentacles. This is a time to be patient. This is a time to look at the details of things. Be mindful of your money. Be prudent with your money. And embrace a complexity of spirit, soul, and self. Embrace diving deeper into what you need for you. This is a time where you need to focus on yourself. You need to focus on kind of what needs to be done in order to get to where you want to be. It brings us then to our subconscious Luna message, which is don't let your past hold you back. We are letting our past hold us back because this is reverse, and surrender. We're having a hard time surrendering to the moon. We're having a hard time not letting our past define the progress of our present. So just be aware of that things are holding us, and the past is holding us a little bit more tightly, more strongly than we think it is. All right, Cancer. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, intensity, and beauty of this time and of ourselves. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Cancer. May blessings and prosperity always be with you. I love you all. God bless, and have a blessed moon. Bye.